Hello, everybody. This is Dan here with The Wealth Instinct. I wanted to share with you my latest article. How much can you improve your life in 1 year? But first, if I could ask you a favor, if you could subscribe to my channel and click the bell icon. That way you'll get notifications when I create new content. I write a lot about business and personal development. So this is a question that I pretty much ask every year, and I usually include my staff. And just try to make it fun, and say like, this is going to be the best year of our lives, and let's work on that. Like, let's create a vision, let's create a plan, let's hold each other accountable. Every year is going to be the best year if you decide that it's going to be the best year. So this is something that I just think is a fun exercise and a fun way to try to always grow and improve your life. And so I wanted to write about this and share this with you. And I think it really starts with committing. You have to decide that you want to improve your life. And obviously, I think most people want to improve their lives, and I think if you talk to a lot of people, their life is good, and when your life is good, you don't necessarily feel motivated to make it better. And that's why it's important to be a little bit strategic and to look at some key areas um, that you can improve. And to me, the most fundamental is your health. So, like, if you think about where you are in life, in your relationships, in your career, in your whatever area, a lot of it comes down to your physical health. If you feel healthy and vital, energized and focused, you're going to show up in life as close to the best version of yourself, or some version of the best of your best self. If you're feeling tired and weak and sluggish and you're sick and you can't focus, obviously that's going to affect your ability to show up for your spouse or your kids. It's going to affect your ability to show up in a working life. So, to some degree, there's aspects of your health that you can't control, but a big percentage of your health comes down to the things you put in your body. If you got to take some ownership and responsibility for how you feel if you're putting things in your body that are draining your energy, that are giving you inconsistent energy levels, that are making your moods go up and down, if you're not consistently exercising, right? So just like when you look at the key areas and how you can improve your life over the next year, improving your health is so fundamental because it affects every aspect of your life. And, at a very, very basic level, if you just eat better, eat more good foods, eat fewer bad foods, and exercise consistently, think about how is that going to improve your life over the next year? Like, if you really commit to that and really go for that, a year from now, how much better are you going to feel and look, and how much more confidence are you going to have, right? So that's where I always like to start. And then relationships. So there's this famous Harvard study that talks about how the quality of your relationships are like the one thing that determines your quality of life in several different areas. And it makes sense if you think about it, right? Like, anytime you need help, if you have a friend you can go to who is maybe an expert in that area, or even if they're just being supportive or someone you can listen to, how much does that help your quality of life when you're like, oh my gosh, I'm struggling with my finances, I'm struggling with my health, I'm struggling with my spouse, I'm struggling with this. Just being able to go to someone who can be supportive and give you good advice and maybe even help you out a little bit is going to drastically improve the quality of your life. And that doesn't happen by accident. You have to actively work on developing those relationships. And then on the other end of the spectrum, think about one toxic relationship, right? You could have a perfect, quote unquote, perfect life, but if you have one toxic relationship, that destroys everything. Like, you could have all the money, you could be perfectly healthy, you could be the most beautiful person on the planet, you could live in a great place, but if you have one toxic relationship, it doesn't matter, right? That just taints everything, that destroys everything. So relationships are just so fundamental. And again, it doesn't happen by accident. I think often we feel like life is happening to us and that we're not in control. But how you act and how you show up in the world is fundamental to your experience of life and the relationships you have. And then the other area that I think is critical to focus on is your professional skills. So we all have to earn a living, right? And a big part of your quality of life comes down to how do you earn your living? Do you earn it in a way that you enjoy and that utilizes your best skills and for which you are richly rewarded? Or are you earning a living in a way that doesn't really use your talents, that you don't enjoy, and isn't paying you what you're really worth, right? That's huge in your quality of life. And so I think it's, especially now, I mean, with everything changing, with so much going on, I mean, so many people have lost their primary means of earning a living in the last year. And that's hard. Like, I know firsthand what that's like. I saw my primary source of income pretty much disappear overnight, and I had to reinvent myself pretty quickly and pivot just in this last year. And it's actually I've actually come out in a better position than I was before because I had a good mindset and decided to be strategic. But I think it's really important to look at your professional life and your skill set and your work, whatever you want to call it, and be strategic, right? Everyone has a lot to offer. I don't care who you are. You have value to add, and you have the potential to earn a lot of money. And it's not about being greedy and wanting more. It's about offering a lot of value. You have a lot of value to add. When you find a way to develop skills that are consistent with your strengths and that allow you to add value to your community, to your society, to individuals, to whatever, you're going to create a positive value exchange with the world where you're able to bring in more money. And you've got to be proactive about that and go through the struggle of maybe learning new skills, maybe changing careers, and I think it's something that you can do, and it's exciting to it can be exciting when you put it in the right light. So putting it all together, so I think it's really critical to realize that everyone I think wants to improve their lives, and I have a lot of people that come to me all the time and they have these vague notions of how they want to improve their lives. But if your life is pretty good, you're not going to really want to change, right? It's like when your life is when you hear about people hitting rock bottom. Well, obviously you don't want to hit rock bottom, right? So the other aspect of that is to build a vision where it's exciting to you and compelling to you, right? And often people talk about SMART goals. Um, it's got to be it's got to be measurable and realistic and attainable and time based and specific. The SMART acronym. The problem with SMART goals is that they can become boring. and and if you know you can achieve something, it's like, yeah, I know I could lose 5 pounds if I really wanted to. You kind of put it off and you hesitate and you're like, well, I know I can do it, so why should I do it now? I could do it later, right? And what I think, the key distinction I want to make here is between a vision and maybe your goals and then milestones along the way to your goal. So your vision should excite you and scare you a little. Your vision should seem unattainable. It should seem impossible. Your vision should be like the beginning of your favorite movie where the hero or heroine of the movie is faced with some daunting challenge that is just like there's no way this is going to happen. Like there's no way. Like if you start watching a movie and you're like, yeah, they can do that. It's not going to be that hard. They're gonna get to that goal. It's going to be a boring movie, right? Like you've got to you've got to envision a life that's so much better than what you have now, that it's worth pursuing, that it gets you excited, that you like want to jump out of bed and be like, yes, let's go for it. Let's do this. Right? Now, your smaller milestones can be a little bit more smart, specific, measurable, realistic, time based. Those can be boring milestones along the way to this awesome, badass goal that you're trying to create. But you got to have something that excites you. It's got to be worth doing. Otherwise, what's the point? Um, then you got to develop a plan, and your plan does not have to be perfect. In fact, your plan should not be perfect. There's no such thing as a perfect plan. And if you spend too much time planning, then you spend not enough time doing and you don't get anywhere. So you need to spend some time and just make some basic decisions. I'm going to wake up at this time. I'm going to exercise at this time. I'm going to do these things, either with a trainer, with a friend, on I'm going to go to a YouTube channel. I'm going to sign up for some membership site, whatever. Make a plan, and the plan should be when you're going to do it, what you're going to do, and that's just the start, right? That's just your plan, and and that's your plan for like your health and wellness, and then you want to look at plans for your relationships, right? Like how are you going to improve your relationships? Like if you have an intimate relationship, what specific things can you do? Leave them notes, take them on a date, do something nice that they're not expecting, all these little things that you can do, that you can plan. I mean, imagine if someone did those little things for you and how you would feel and how much, and if you can do that for someone else, then that's going to create some excitement there in your relationship. And it doesn't have to be an intimate relationship. It could be a close friend. Maybe just take them out to lunch and be like, hey, we don't hang out often enough. You're really important to me, and I'm glad you're in my life. And I wanted to buy you a hamburger to show you how much you mean to me, right? Like whatever it is, like, take them, plan things, do things for people. And then I think the other thing is there's certain relationships you can't avoid sometimes. Um, but maybe there's trigger situations where you get angry, you react, you get upset. And just think about those situations and think, well, what could I do differently? Every time this person shows up, I react this way. I get upset. I have a horrible time. I try to hold it in. I say something, then we all have a horrible time. How could I do this better next time? And ask your close friends, how can I do this better? Maybe the best thing is to avoid that person. Maybe there's something you can do differently to make it better. I don't know, but you want to think about that. And then look at your professional life and say, okay, well, am I in a career that I want to grow in? Yes or no? If you are, okay, great. What skills do you need to learn? What books do you need to read? What classes do you need to take? Who could be your mentor? Are you not in a career that is consistent with who you are and what you want to do in life? Well, what can you do about that? What career could you pursue? What new skills could you learn? So, just going through that exercise and making a plan and committing to it over the next year, I mean, you could really do a lot in the next year towards having a better way to earn money and feeling better about your career and the way you earn money in the world. And then you need some accountability. Ideally, you'll hold yourself accountable, but sometimes we don't go far enough to hold ourselves accountable, so we need other people in our lives holding ourselves accountable. I have a couple different coaches that I work with. My staff helps hold me accountable. I have a close friend, and we have a weekly phone call where we just say, hey, this is what I'm committed to do next week, and then this is what I did last week. I made it in these areas. I fell short in these areas. I want to grow in this area, and just having that weekly phone call helps keep us both accountable and on track. And that's aside from the coaches that I pay to coach me and also my team, who we kind of just use each other as a mastermind group and try to help each other grow. So, but you need some way to hold yourself accountable. Maybe you're just writing a note to your future self. Whatever it is, you got to do something. And then other resources here. So this is a really cool resource. If you click on this link, this is to the Entre. It's a video by Jeff Lerner about his Entre Institute, and I highly, highly, highly recommend you check it out. It's pretty amazing. So just want to thank you again for watching, And be sure to subscribe and click like, and we'll talk soon. Take care.